Everyone is talking about electric vehicles, be it startups or be it the industrial houses. Everyone seems to be working around it. Yeah. And all the retail investors are hunting for their next multi-bagger stock. A stock or maybe a set of stocks which will make them crorepati and turn their fortune. Can EV stocks be the next multi-bagger stocks? Well, history teaches us a lot. Just that we refuse to learn the lessons. So let's learn some history lessons in this video. Hello investors and welcome to yet another video. We all have this pet question, which sector will do well? And the logical conclusion why are we asking this question is because if a sector is expected to do well, we expect a few stocks in that sector to do well. So if we get to know which sector is expected to do well, we can hunt for stocks in that sector and maybe make our money, right? And there have been many cases when a sector has done well and a few stocks in that sector has also done well. But at the same time, there have been also many such cases wherein the sector did very well, but none of the stocks did well. That's right. Let me give you some examples. Before we move ahead, please check the name of the winner in the description box given below for the last week's quiz. A big congratulations to you. The book will be delivered to your doorstep very soon. For others, we have another quiz again the link is given in the description box. This link is valid, it is there in the box only for the next 72 hours from the time we upload this video. Yeah? All the best for the quiz. Thank you. Airlines. Look at the airline industry of last 20 years. Telecom, education, hospitality. Let's take them one by one. Aviation. Look at the number of people traveling by air, let's say 20 years back, late 90s, early 2000s, and look at the number of people traveling by air today. Yeah? You look at the airports, they are the new railway stations of India. Right? So, I mean, we have seen this growth in the Indian consumer disposable income, and we know that more people can afford flights now compared to what was possible 20 years back. So, the industry, if you see, the airline industry has actually grown substantially or exponentially, I would say, in last 20 years. But you all know the condition of all the airline industry stocks. Yeah? Many of the companies have gone bankrupt. Some have been, have undergone mergers and acquisition. Some have, some are on the verge of, closing down. Every now and then we have some or the other airlines on the verge of closing down, right? Another example, telecom. Same story. In fact, telecom is one industry which has seen, I guess, the biggest transformation in the country. Look at the look at the way it came. 20 years back, it came like a luxury. Today, it's a necessity. Yeah, and this is the best thing any industry can expect. You start as a luxury and you become a necessity. Yeah, look at the number of mobile phones we have. Look at the number of mobile phones in every family. It's equal to the number of family members, right? You spend every month on this, right? But look at the condition of the telecom companies which came and went out in the last 20 years. Went out as in some went back to their country, some companies which came out from outside India. Some from India have gone bankrupt, and again mergers and acquisitions have happened. Right? So despite the sector doing so well, look at the performance of the stocks in that sector and you will be surprised. Yeah. Another example I was talking about, education. Again, look at the education. There are not not like enough stocks listed in the education space, but whatever stocks you have, look at their performance. And we all know how much Indian parents spend on the education of the children, right? Last example I was talking about, hospitality. Look at the kind of money you spend on your vacations now compared to 20 years back. Or let's say in that time you used to travel with your parents and they were the ones who were spending. So look at the kind of money they were spending on travel and vacations and the kind of money you are spending today. Look at the number of vacations and look at the quality of your vacation. Yeah, I remember in 90s when we used to go out for vacation, a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times we used to go to a city or town where we had some relative or maybe friend and we used to stay at their place. Right? That was the idea of vacation. Yeah, sometimes we used to stay in hotel as well, but there are a lot of times when we used to stay at someone's place. Now when we travel now, even if we have relatives in that city, most likely we'll end up staying in a hotel. Yeah, you must have noticed that with yourself as well. Yeah, so the kind of money you are spending on hotels is much bigger compared to what you were spending 20 years back. Yeah, but look at the performance of hospitality stocks of last 20 years. Their performance. Yeah. Now, why is this happening? Even though the sector has done well, the sector has grown leaps and bounds, why are the stocks not performing? Yeah, so there would have been people who invested in the stocks of these sectors, believing that this sector will do well in the future and the stocks will also perform, but that never happened. So the biggest reason is competition. It's a very natural thing to observe. When the sector is supposed to do well, everyone wants to get into that. I was just talking about EV. Every startup, every industrial house, everyone is talking about EV. Everyone wants to get into the EV business. Yeah, because if a sector is expected to do well, why not I also start my business in that sector and make some money? Yeah, from a businessman point of view, I'm talking about. Why would I not get into that sector? Yeah. So that's one reason, competition. If you look at specific examples like telecom, apart from intense competition, it was capital intensive. 2G spectrum cost, 3G spectrum, 4G spectrum. Now they're talking about 5G. Yeah. Plus regulations, government regulations, right? Same goes with airlines. Apart from competition, it was highly regulated, plus capital intensive, plus a lot was dependent on the crude price. So every sector will have their own reasons why the stocks could not perform despite the fact that the sector was performing well. Now, one good thing which happened in all these cases was, as a consumer, I was the king, but not as an investor. Yeah. So as a consumer, I was getting good deals in telecom, I was getting good deals in airlines, I was getting good deals in all these sectors which did well, but the competition was also very intense. Yeah. But as an investor, I was losing out. Yeah. So there are two things. As a consumer, I can be happy, but not as an investor in such companies. Right. Now, coming to electric vehicles. I believe, in my opinion, it is too early to say right now that which stock in electric vehicle space, and there are like multiple dimensions, and it's like a complete spectrum across the board, which area you are focusing on electric vehicle. But I believe it is too early to say right now that which company will really come out well in terms of making their millions and billions and doing the same for their investors. That's number one. Number two. Again, the competition is expected to be very high. No matter what, the competition in this space is going to be very, very intense. Again, it will be good for me as a consumer. As an investor, I don't know. I mean, I'm not predicting, I'm not projecting anything. I'm not saying EV is a bad sector and don't invest, and none. I mean, it may turn out to be a sector which will do well, plus the stocks will also do well. But I'm just giving you some examples where this has not happened all the time. Yeah, so 2 points I've covered so far on electric vehicles. One, it is too early to say that which company may do well. Secondly, the competition will definitely be very high. Third point, which I believe is kind of a concern for me, is the concept of this battery thing. Right now, in the automobiles, let's say in the four-wheeler, the main component which distinguishes two automobiles is the engine, and that's where they have they also have patent. Now, when the battery comes in, the battery becomes the main component of the car. Even the cost wise, if you look at whatever I have read so far, the battery cost is the most significant cost for any electric vehicle. Yeah, rightly so. Now, in this case, it looks like that automobiles will end up becoming a commodity, because they will not be able to distinguish with each other. I mean, the model of the car can, we all know Maruti comes up with certain models, certain price range. There are other automobile players also comes in the same price range with a similar looking model and a competitive model. So the model is not really the differentiator. It was the engine, which is now getting replaced by battery, which again will be very competitive. Maybe some third party will serve that. So it looks very, very unclear right now that which direction this space is going into and which company can really do well in terms of beating the competition around and making that millions and billions for the investors. So that's my point about electric vehicles. So the point I want you to take away from this is that just because the sector is expected to do well, don't assume that there will be a set of stocks or even a single stock in that sector which has to do well. Not necessary. Not necessary. It may happen, it may not happen. Right? So in my opinion, asking this question, which sector will do well, is actually a bad question. Rather, I would prefer to focus on a bottom-up approach wherein I'm looking at the stock. Now that stock might not be in a good industry, industry which might not be doing well right now, but I know fundamentally this industry is fine, so I may invest in that stock, right? At the same time, I may not invest in a stock even though the industry is expected to do very well, because that stock is not looking that fundamentally sound. Yeah. So focus on the stock rather than focusing on the industry. I hope you got value out of this video. Please share, like and comment and let us know what do you want to hear from us next time. Thank you so much.